Over the years, people have navigated the Great Lakes in everything from birch bark canoes to 1,000-foot freighters. Yet one distinctive type of boat, a genuine Great Lakes original, has nearly vanished. Thankfully, there are dedicated enthusiasts pushing to bring it back. We sent our own Ward Detweiler to Tawas City, Michigan on the Lake Huron shoreline to learn more.
As a natural harbor of refuge, Tawas Bay has always been attractive to sailors on Lake Huron. But I'm here to visit Heritage Coast Sailing and Rowing in Tawas City. Founding members Dave Wentworth and Leo Chartier helped start the group more than a decade ago. In 2012, they built their first Mackinac boat, and this is it.
Well, this is the Wabezi. Wabezi was the first boat we built and the first Mackinac boat.
That's beautiful.
She's a 12-strake, lap-strake Mackinac.
So the 12, that means how many
12 boards, yeah.
planks you have to put together here. So this is a historic boat for the region, for the area.
Yes, it is.
And how would they have used this boat? What was the purpose of these back in the day?
I think primarily fishing boats at the start, but they became pocket freighters that carried goods between towns, carried passengers. Somewhere in my files, I've got a picture of one with a cow in it.
Mackinac boats were workhorses of the Great Lakes, and a common sight in the 2 centuries before the combustion engine replaced many sailboats. They were equipped with masts for sailing and oarlocks for rowing, and they featured a broad bow to accommodate nets, fish, and freight. The origins of the design have been debated, but the development likely goes back to the 1700s. It proved to be an ideal vessel for the shallow waters and unique conditions of the Great Lakes, and by the mid-1800s, they would have been a common sight on Tawas Bay and around the Great Lakes up through the Straits of Mackinac. As Mackinac boats gained in popularity, they became commercially available. But one of the appeals of the design was that it could be easily built and maintained by the boat's user, who often customized it for their exact needs.
Why a Mackinac boat of all the different kind of boats you could build?
We didn't know what kind of boat we were going to build. We knew that we wanted to build a boat, and we looked at all kinds. About that same time, US 23 was being converted to the Heritage route. And we said, well, let's do a Mackinac boat. That was a local boat, and we'll do a 23-foot, and we'll call it the Heritage 23, because we live on US 23, and it all kind of fit together with the Heritage route and the Mackinac boat.
Traditionally, Mackinac boats reached about 35 feet. The team built the Wabezi to be a smaller scale, 20-foot replica.
Dave, tell me about the name Wabezi. Where does that come from?
Wabezi is a Native American word that means swan. It was named after an early Mackinac boat whose owner chose not to use tan and tea to preserve his sails. So instead of the tan sails that most boats had, Wabezi had white sails and a white hull, so as it came back to harbor, it looked like a swan.
Have you thought about building one of these at full scale?
We actually have the plans and the drawings to build a full-scale Mackinac boat. We thought it would be a nice addition, making the community more attractive as a tourist destination to have our own indigenous tall ship.
Looks like you've got your next project here.
Yeah, well, as you look in the shop, we've got a lot of next projects.
But Heritage Coast Sailing and Rowing does more than build Mackinac boats. They've grown into a dedicated community that comes together to mentor youth, teach the art of sailing, and share the maritime legacy of the Great Lakes. In the shop where they were repairing boats for the youth sailing school, I met with Leo and Kurt Vogelslonger to learn about the group's activities.
We have really 3 missions for Heritage Coast. One is a sailing school, one is basically to build boats with at-risk kids, and the one that we just started is an ROV program.
Once we got the boat building going, we said we want to give back to the community. We want to make it available to kids. So we started this, and we love to see the kids enjoying it and coming back, and hopefully the sport will grow.
So this is their first introduction to sailing?
This is usually their first introduction into sailing, and they know nothing. They come out there the first day, they're excited, they're nervous, and then all of a sudden we get them in the water and we teach them how to rig the boat. So every morning they come and they rig it and they de-rig it, and we get them out on the water. Usually the first day we're out on the water.
Part of our mission is to preserve the heritage of sailing, and it's a maritime ritual, you know, that we just don't see nowadays.
I was curious about the involvement of at-risk youth in the boat building. I got the chance to ask Dave and Leo at their other workshop in Dave's garage.
Was it your intention when you started this to involve the at-risk youth?
That hadn't even crossed our mind. Turned out to be a very rewarding and productive activity for us.
A lot of these kids come from backgrounds that are kind of tough. Maybe they're in trouble with school, they're in trouble with their parents, and they're just in trouble and they're lost. And we kind of give them some direction. Building boats gives them a focus.
So you're learning a lot more than just how to build a boat.
Life lessons, right? And that's what we try to teach them. We want them to leave here knowing that they can do something.
It's incredibly rewarding to see the kids the way that they start and the way that they finish, their evolution. Because the boat build from scratch is kind of a life lesson in itself. Small steps to get where you're going with ending up with something that's beautiful and serviceable. That lesson doesn't escape them.
The next morning, I woke up excited because today we're sailing. I met the group at the East Tawas dock, where another of their handmade Mackinac boats was moored. This is the Indigenous. Dave explained that the name honors the origin of the Mackinac design.
Mackinac boats are the product of early French boat builders working with First Nation people in Canada to create boats that look like this. Truly the merger of European boat building and Native American canoe building. It's from here. It was developed on the Great Lakes and is therefore indigenous to the Great Lakes.
I've been out on this lake a ton. This lake can get incredibly rough. The thought of people sailing this thing from port to port, you know, loaded down with fur and whatever they're carrying around seems a little terrifying to me.
Interestingly enough, it turned out to be a really seaworthy boat. The life-saving station here, they preferred to take their Mackinac boat out to pull people out of the water. It intrinsically is a good rough water boat.
Well, I'm really excited to get out there and go sailing.
It was time to relive history. We cast off from the dock and set sail. I wasn't sure what to expect from a centuries-old design that was intended to act as a cargo vessel, but I was surprised at just how well it sailed. It was balanced with a ton of feel, and even the slightest puff of breeze was transited right into my fingertips. It was a pure joy to sail. Sailing something so simple and Spartan with historic roots just has soul to it. It made me remember why I love sailing. As the Indigenous cut through Tawas Bay, I thought of the conversation I had with Dave and Leo the day before. They said that there's more to sailing than meets the eye. It's about setting goals, navigating challenges, embracing the unpredictable, and, perhaps most importantly, enjoying the journey.
Why do you guys think this is such an important thing to pass on?
Because I think it's life. It's ever-changing. You don't know what to expect. When you go into a job, you may think you know it, but there's always evolution.
Heritage Coast Sailing and Rowing is doing more than preserving maritime history. They're bringing it to life and sharing their passion with the community. They're on a mission to encourage others to raise their sails and explore the uncharted waters of life.
So it prepares you to accept what comes. I think that's good and healthy for young people and old people.
It's an incredible joy, just a wonderful experience, and everyone should be able to share in that.